Welcome to the Virtual Coffee Lab and Brew HaHa 2023, a family brewing competition here with my son Michael and Jeremy and your host Mike, and we are here to have some fun but also have a friendly competition as we brew the same coffee together while we're on vacation. And we want to share that experience with you guys, and we've done this now for several years. We have Jeremy has won 2 years of competitions. I won last year, and this year Michael's going to win. So we're going to see this happen. We're going to be, again, brewing the same coffee, and it is by...
We have coffee right here. It is a Honduras coffee Typica varietal from Heart Coffee Roasters. We took a trip to Portland earlier this year and visited Heart, so it was a good choice.
Yeah, some of you might be asking, well, hey, Mike, you know, you're a home coffee roasting channel. Why are you drinking somebody else's coffee? And we drink our coffee all year round, but one tip that I would really encourage you guys to consider is drinking other people's coffee. So we learn from drinking some really good professional roasters' coffees, and we learn what we like, noticed some kind of roasting techniques that they may have used, and we experiment with that. So we would encourage you to do that as well. Okay, so we'll get started with the brewing competition and have some fun. Okay, so there is a dynamic here between the three of us. So it's a friendly competition, but we like to jab each other. And we jab each other throughout the entire year, wanting to know what they're going to change for next year, how they're going to do things different, and maybe what mistakes they did, or maybe something they can do to improve. So last year I used a completely different brew method, and it was the Flask by Ethos, and it was something completely different and new, and I won. Previous 2 years before that, the Kalita was the winner for the brew competition. So we're going to see if the Clever Dripper can win this year. But we have 2 Kalitas and a Clever Dripper going on here, and ultimately, whoever wins, we're going to have some fun with this.
I'm here for you, Captain.
I'm using a Kalita 185 this year. I also used it last year. And this year, to try to improve my brewing, I've been focusing on water temperature with brewing. So I've been experimenting with different water temperatures. And I found that using boiling water, if the roast is light enough, can make the coffee brighter and more snappy. So I'm going to use boiling water today with this coffee from Heart, which is sufficiently light. And hopefully I will have a nice, bright, and snappy cup. And compared to others, the acidity will be that much more refreshing, and it will be seen as a positive. The risk that I run with that is over extracting because the water is so hot, or getting a little too much roasty flavor, but hopefully that won't happen. I've tested with this coffee a few times and I think it was okay, so that's going to be my strategy. My water's boiling right now. I spent a lot of time cleaning my Kalita 185, so it looks almost like new. And I'll be using this Baratza Forte BG grinder. We'll see what happens.
Interesting workstation.
Yeah, I do my best work in laundry rooms usually.
I'm using my tried and true brew method. Same method I've been using the last few years. That won the first 2. It's the George Howe method. But this year, I made sure all my devices were cleaned. So I should be back in business this year. So these guys better watch out.
Okay, I am using the Clever Dripper. I love this brew method. It's my favorite. I enjoy it and I use it every day. So I'm using it here for the competition just to kind of show people that you can brew some great coffee with the Clever Dripper. I am going to be pouring 350 grams of water, 204 degrees, and then I have already ground my coffee just before we started recording this. Close enough. Put my grounds on top of the water. Stir it in. Now I'm not starting the timer yet. Okay, so now I'm going to start the timer. And I want all the coffee to be in there. Put on the cover, and I'm going to let that steep for 3 minutes and 15 seconds. But around 30 or 40 seconds before I pull it off, I'm going to dispense probably about 20 to 25% of the coffee to kind of just pop the acidity a little bit. So we'll see if that helps.
So this year, I got a new coffee grinder. So the last couple years, I've been using a Baratza Encore, but this year, I got a Fellow Ode second generation grinder. And it should be able to get more consistent grinds. Mike over here, he also has a Fellow, but he has the first generation.
Yep,
Which has some different burrs.
And I'm using a 3 3/4 grind setting. Yep. What did you use? Ooh, 3.5 on the Kalita. Yeah, normally I would be using a slightly larger grind size for the Clever Dripper, but I'm living on the edge, I think, on this competition.
Okay. And for the record, these numbers, I don't think they correlate, because mine is able to get a little finer and a little more consistent.
Yeah, you have a different burst set.
It is.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I don't know if they're a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. We'll taste the difference and see. You thought that was going to happen with him?
All right, we're going to start with sample A. We're going to smell and taste it, take some notes on our own, and then discuss it. Let A commence.
Tastes slightly astringent.
Smells astringent.
Because Virtual Coffee Lab has reached 10,000 subscribers, we're having issues with paparazzi showing up to our brewing events.
Nice. Okay, so since Laura mentioned that, so my family got me and us t-shirts that say Virtual Coffee Lab. So we're all wearing Virtual Coffee Lab t-shirts, just having some fun with it. And on the back of the shirt, it says 10,000 subscribers of May of 2023. So I want to thank you, the subscriber, and you, the viewer. I would encourage you to subscribe. That would be awesome. But I want to thank you guys for watching my videos, for supporting this channel through subscribing and watching. That's really cool. And best of all, the comments that you make, the encouragement that you give, all of those things help me to produce more videos. So be sure to hit the like button, leave your comments, tell me what you thought. I know this is not roasting coffee, this is not one of my typical videos, but yeah, leave your comments on what you thought about our competition, our friendly competition. And again, thank you so much for supporting the Virtual Coffee Lab. Okay, comments on Cup A.
Yeah, so I'm definitely getting a sweetness, but it's also, I don't know. I've been, we've been brewing this coffee, this last week, just try to get our, fine tune our brewing method, and let's just say I haven't quite tasted it like this far.
Yeah, usually there's more like like a fruity note, a little more sweetness, and I'm noticing kind of some sweetness, but kind of a dirty bitterness, a little bit of a dirty bitterness. I don't know. Some might call that astringent note in there. I am getting an acidity, kind of a citrus acidity.
Oh, as it cools, it's getting a little better.
Yeah, to me, it's still a little too hot to
Yeah.
fully judge.
Yeah.
Smell-wise, it smells pretty sweet. And there's like an almond extract smell.
I am getting a nuttiness.
I think it needs to cool more, but it's a little lackluster. There's like a chocolate and a nut.
I think as it cools, it's starting to come out. But yeah, well, I'm just gonna taste it, in a couple minutes.
As the coffee cools, and we saw this happen in previous years, you end up with a totally different coffee.
Yeah,
So hopefully this one will come out and shine.
and we experienced that at Heart Coffee.
We did.
Yeah.
Portland.
Sample B.
Yeah, B, it definitely. I noticed it smells and it tastes like kind of like blackberries, and it's definitely more delicate and maybe a little more silky than the first one.
Definitely more body. I got kind of a little bit of a spice in here, a little cinnamon. Definitely a sweet note, and it's a super juicy coffee. This is really juicier compared to A.
I like the balance of the fruit taste and the sweetness that B has. I'm calling it lime, the fruit taste, but I could see blackberry too. But it kind of tastes like it like sticks to the tongue and the teeth, like it was brewed with a very high coffee to water ratio.
So meaning there was high ratio, so higher number.
High coffee to water, so high, like more coffee
Oh, okay.
in comparison to
So it'd
A.
be a lower number.
It feels quite strong to me. It tastes good, but it's quite strong. And the end is kind of like there's a syrupy body, which is probably what you're talking about, but it's a little much. A is getting more lively and it's beginning to dance. This is beginning to get a little sludgy.
I don't know. It's like a little more syrupy.
This should be interesting.
But the fruit taste is quite good. See?
See?
Yeah, it tastes pretty good now.
Oh, what is that? What is that smell?
This, if you're gonna talk about brew strength, this is the weakest.
There's a smack of cardboard or something.
Yeah, it's definitely papery. Definitely papery. Something didn't go right there.
Not good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Somebody's gonna have to answer for that one.
That could be me. I mean, I made several mistakes during brewing. But
I don't know.
My
I mean-
coffee does not often taste like that, as far as I know.
I haven't had, out of all the times that I've brewed this coffee, I have not had anything like that. But it could be me. Definitely.
So the taste, I'm actually familiar. The combination of tastes that are in there, I'm familiar with. There's a certain signature that comes with those, and I will wager a guess later as to whose that is, and I will explain why.
I think he's targeting me.
But to try to be specific, strong paper taste, some chocolate, maybe a little nuttiness, but then it kind of
Yeah. It's flat.
washes away into water.
Yeah. It's kind of a flat coffee. Definitely not a complex cup. Definitely not a lively cup.
Yeah. So for me, I liked B. That's my number one. I like that, because it was, both fruity. There was a sweetness, creaminess, It was just that's what I kind of like in a coffee. So that's why I chose that one. And then for number 2, I got A. There was a lot of good things going on in there, especially as it cooled. It kind of blossomed. So that was good. And then last place, it was C. It was just there was all the notes there, but in a weird combination, and with extra notes.
I didn't get any fruit.
Oh, I got fruit.
No.
It was just mixed in with paper or something.
I thought B was lively. It was bright. It was sweet. It was a coffee that I would enjoy anytime. B is number 1. A was okay, but it was really kind of harsh in the beginning. It was kind of there was a bitterness to it, and it did get better, but there's still this overtone, this little dirty overtone, which kind of masks some of the acidity and sweetness. And then C was just, I don't know, it just seemed weaker, definitely had paper in it, and was not really a great, exciting cup.
Okay, so the single best sip that I had was my first sip of B. The lime fruitiness and the sweetness was quite good. I didn't like how strong it seemed. Strong brewing wise. After the acidity and the sweetness kind of washed off, it felt kind of like strong and sticky in a negative way. A did not have as much detail and resolution to it and clarity as B did, but A, once it wasn't too hot, it was very just like kind of caramely, chocolatey, lemony, consistent every single sip. I think because of the first sip though of how good it was, I would say B was the best. A close second. C is definitely a trailing last. Dad, as soon as I saw you brewing with a brown paper filter, I had concerns about what was going to happen. And this was basically, my first sip was a self-fulfilling prophecy of my concerns of your brown paper filter. And then in the background of that brown paper filter was a taste that I associate with the Clever Dripper. I think it comes from a combination of the Immersion Brewing and the pour over, where it almost tastes like you're licking the side of a coffee bean a little bit, mixed in with the actual coffee flavor. So I would guess you're C. This is a very revealing exercise because we get used to the taste of our own brewing.
Yeah.
We get used to how our brewing method tastes as a fixed variable, and we taste the differences in coffees on top of that. Then when we taste someone else's, it's like, oh my gosh. And that's how it's possible that I was disgusted by my own coffee one time in one of these. So B, based upon the fact that Jeremy is using a higher ratio than me, and he has a new burr set that is highly fabled for the details that it brings out, I think B was Jeremy's. I think A was mine. It was a little astringent in the beginning because I used boiling water, 212 the entire time.
Wow.
And I found that using boiling water, the cup is more composed and consistent through the entire time.
Oh.
But what I learned today is that it doesn't really have the detail and resolution of the one that I think is Jeremy's, which is B. So I still have... Anyway, those are my thoughts. I've
So you think
gone long
Jeremy
enough
won?
for myself.
You think Jeremy won?
So you guys share your opinions now.
Well, I'd love to say that mine is B. I think every year I say that
Whichever one's the best.
Whichever one's the best, that's mine, right?
Hey, you were right last year.
I
think you're wrong.
Oh, he was wrong.
You're wrong.
I was wrong. And so I'm going to stick with my guns and I'll say that mine is B. Okay? But truthfully, and I think Michael's is C. Because
Based on what?
Michael had some brewing problems while he was brewing that he mentioned.
That's true. And he used a plastic cup as a decanter.
I used one of these.
Yes, he did. And he used extremely hot water, which possibly could have had the paper leach into his brew. This is the part that's amazing. 3 different cups of coffee from the same exact coffee. And so brew methods are really important. How we brew our coffee is really important. We can roast some really great coffee and we can mess it up with our brew method.
Yeah, so I would agree with Michael. I think that A was his, I think B was mine, and C was good old Dan's.
Okay.
But maybe that's a bias of mine. I think I always put you as last place.
Yeah. And last year I won. So
That's true.
yes.
So I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong once.
Okay, well let's find
Twice.
out. Are we ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's all batten down the hatches of our egos.
Yeah. Got nothing to
Prepare
lose.
to
here.
hear the results.
We have nothing to lose and everything to learn. Lauren, who brewed C?
C was Dad. All right. So second place was A. Michael. Which means
That's what I thought.
Brew
Wow.
HaHa 2023 champion and winner of the coffee cup is Jeremy.
A trophy.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. What does it say on it?
Nothing.
I didn't have time to get it engraved.
Is it?
It
It's
is
100% plastic. All right.
Just like C.
Well, so that's awesome, Jeremy. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
This
you.
is Jeremy's 3rd win in 4 years.
Yes.
So we have something to learn from Jeremy. Jeremy, again, used the Kalita.
Yeah.
He used the George Howell brewing method. Look it up online. You can find out what it is and how it operates and the timings of it and all that.
And now I got things to learn. Now I can play with maybe using less coffee and maybe a higher temperature. See what that does. So even I have things to learn.
I don't know. I mean, I
Even
wouldn't
you.
change a thing. That was a great cup of coffee. That was a great cup of coffee.
All right, so we do have a couple honorable mention awards to hand out. It's okay. Sweet second goes to Michael. So give him
Sweet second.
sweet second.
Oh no. Oh no.
And
Way to go.
Great job.
for Dad, the not so clever, not so clever drip.
It's not gonna fit.
Also, these medals are for children, so
That's
go
great.
team.
Not so clever.
Not
That's so
clever
clever.
drip.
That's great.
All right. Good job, guys.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us again. 2023 Brew HaHa. Congratulations, guys. And we'll see you next time here at the Brookshire Coffee Lab.